$2 billion. Did you know that in Salt Lake County alone, over $2 billion in property taxes are collected and distributed every single year? Welcome to this explainer, where we're going to completely demystify the process of finding and understanding your property taxes in the state of Utah. Whether you're a new homeowner trying to make sense of your very first tax notice, or you're a seasoned resident wondering about year-over-year changes in your bill, navigating the various county databases can honestly feel a little overwhelming. But it absolutely doesn't have to be. Today, we're going to break down exactly how you can look up your property taxes using a simple street address, how to decode that resulting data, and truly understand how the Utah tax system works behind the scenes. So you might be asking, why did my property taxes increase? This is literally the #1 question Utah homeowners ask when they check their mail. So let's unpack exactly how to investigate your own property tax bill from start to finish. Public service entities collect taxes to pay for the vital services they provide to the community. Now, these entities might increase their budgets for a whole bunch of reasons. Think higher costs from inflation, rapid population growth, or just the need to improve local infrastructure. Your property taxes might also go up if your home value increases. But here's an interesting fact. Utah has a truth in taxation law. This is specifically designed to prevent governments from automatically collecting more money just because property values rise. Basically, when total property values go up, the tax rate is usually lowered, so the exact same amount of budget money is collected as the year before. To really understand what's happening to your specific bill, though, you need to know how to look it up. Here is our roadmap for this explainer. We'll cover 1. Utah property taxes explained. 2. Essential tax search tools. 3. A step-by-step lookup guide. 4. Decoding your tax results. 5. Pro tips and troubleshooting. And 6. A recap and legal disclaimer. Let's get into it. Starting with Section 1. Utah property taxes explained. Understanding the basics. Those billions of dollars we mentioned earlier, they are the absolute backbone of local government funding, directly supporting essential services in your community. Generally speaking, public K-12 schools receive the largest share of your property tax. But this revenue is also what keeps your city and county governments running. It funds the public libraries, and it maintains special service entities like water conservancy districts and even mosquito abatement districts. Every single dollar you pay is tied directly to a local budget that was approved for your specific area. Moving to Section 2, Essential Tax Search Tools, Navigating the Digital Landscape. Now, the digital landscape here is pretty fascinating because there's a stark contrast between the modern state auditor's transparent Utah map, which beautifully shows year-over-year value changes, and the varying legacy portals operated by individual counties. The state actually launched this transparent Utah property values tool in response to taxpayer concerns about equitable valuation. It's a fantastic interactive map that allows you to see current and past property values, which really helps increase transparency and trust in the whole system. However, for the most granular, actionable data, like viewing your specific 14-digit parcel number, checking for delinquent taxes, or actually paying your current bill, you still have to rely on county-specific assessor and treasurer portals. And, as we're about to see, those portals operate very differently depending on where you happen to live. Next up, Section 3, Step-by-Step Lookup Guide. 2 different county approaches. Let's walk through the streamlined process for Salt Lake County. They use a highly modern system where a simple address autocomplete immediately brings up your unique 14-digit parcel number and tax dashboard. First, you'll navigate to their treasurer's online property tax directory. Once you locate the physical address search bar, just start typing your street address. The system uses a real-time autocomplete script, so you must select the correct address from that generated drop-down menu to retrieve your data. Almost instantly, the system pulls up your unique 14-digit parcel number, which is formatted with dashes, and drops you directly into a personalized dashboard. Through this single interface, you can download official valuation notices, review your land and building values, access current tax bills, and even set up prepayments and handy monthly installments. Conversely, Utah County operates what we'd call a legacy system. It actually separates address queries from the tax database, which means you're required to first find a serial number before you can look up your actual bill. For this one, you navigate to the Utah County Land Records Index. You have to explicitly click Address Search, which opens up a structured form. You'll enter your house number, direction, street name, and city into completely separate fields. Once you submit that form, it gives you a unique property serial number. You then have to copy that number, return to the main directory, click on tax information, and paste that serial number in to finally display your tax payment database. It is a few extra steps for sure, but understanding this workflow up front prevents a lot of frustration when you just want to see your tax history. Let's look at Section 4, Decoding your tax results, making sense of the math. Okay, so you've found your tax record. Now what? Everything starts with the fair market value. Legally, this is defined as the standard price agreed upon by a willing buyer and seller in a fair open market. The county assessor is the official responsible for evaluating all recorded property at this fair market value for taxation purposes. To ensure accuracy, the assessor's office and the Utah State Tax Commission actually perform an annual assessment to sales ratio study. If assessed values deviate by more than 10% from actual market values, the county applies a factor to adjust values to that 100% legal level of assessment. So this number truly represents what your home is actually worth on the open market. Now here is where it gets really good. 45%. This brilliantly illustrates Utah's unique primary residential exemption. It means if a home is your primary domiciled for at least 183 consecutive days out of the year, 45% of its value is entirely exempt from property taxes. This is a massive benefit for Utah homeowners. State code mandates this exemption so that you are shielded from paying taxes on nearly half of your home's value. You, a family member, or even a tenant can occupy the residence to qualify, but that 183 consecutive days rule is strictly enforced. Just remember, a household can only claim one residential exemption in the state of Utah, and the exemption only applies to the residence itself and up to 1 acre of land. Any land beyond that first acre, that is calculated at 100% of its market value. Let's look at how this builds a simple visual formula. Take a real Utah County property tax calculation as an example. We start with an assessed fair market value of $1,209,500. We subtract that amazing 45% residential exemption, which totals $544,275. That leaves a final taxable value of $665,225. Your individual property tax is then calculated by multiplying the specific taxable value by the combined current tax rate for all the taxing entities in your area. For instance, a rate like 0.84%. This simple mathematical sequence is the absolute key to interpreting your annual tax notice and understanding exactly what you owe. On to Section 5, Pro Tips and Troubleshooting, Overcoming Common Hurdles. So what happens if you decide to use that unified state mapping tool we talked about and you just can't find your house? You might immediately think something is terribly wrong with your property registration. It's super easy to assume you were skipped over or that there's a major legal issue with your deed. But don't panic, it is usually just a very common digital hurdle. The simple answer here is often just a technical glitch. If the parcel ID from your local county doesn't perfectly match the state's geometry dataset, your home just won't populate on the map. The transparent Utah tool relies on parcel geometry provided by the Utah Geographic Resource Center. When county assessors submit their data, any slight mismatch in how the parcel ID is formatted means the map simply cannot link the financial data to the physical shape on your screen. Plus, some counties are also just unable to share their assessment data in a timely manner. If this happens to you, always default to your individual county's portal to verify your official tax records. And finally, Section 6, Recap and Legal Disclaimer, Final Thoughts. Let's wrap this up. Remember, while the digital lookup tools may vary wildly by county, the underlying math, especially that fantastic 45% residential exemption, remains the crucial key to understanding your final bill. Tax rates are simply a reflection of local budgets for essential services divided by the total tax base. Whether you're using a modern autocomplete search or an older legacy serial number system, finding your unique parcel number by your street address is the gateway to your entire tax history. Keep in mind that you only pay taxes on 55% of your primary home's value. Before we go, it is important to note that there are numerous specific tax relief abatements available across Utah counties, like circuit breaker programs for seniors, exemptions for disabled veterans, and programs for those facing extreme financial hardship or blindness. We didn't have time to cover all those specific thresholds today, and this explainer is strictly for general informational purposes only. So please, reach out to a qualified tax professional for personalized advice tailored to your exact financial circumstances. But consider this. As our counties continue to modernize and combine their digital data sets, how long will it be until algorithms entirely automate our property assessments? And will that make the system more fair or just a lot more complicated to challenge? Keep digging into your local records and never stop asking questions about exactly where your tax dollars are going.